Hi, and thank you for tuning into Radical Spirituality. This is like the very first episode, so I'm super grateful to have you all here. And I also have this wonderful lady on the other end. Her name is Mandy Elam. Go ahead, say hi, lady.
Hello. I am so honored to be here on the first episode of Radical Spirituality, Crystal.
I'm so excited for this. I've been looking at doing podcasts and stuff for a while because my clients have a plethora of questions that they love to ask me, and I just enjoy so much talking to people and helping them through their space. But I'm going to kind of take a backseat for a second before I introduce myself, and I'm actually going to have you introduce yourself and talk about who you are, what you do, and how you love to help people.
Sure, I'd be honored to. I'm Mandy Elam. I'm a intuitive and spiritual teacher. I have several different things going on. The way Crystal and I connected is she is here joining our radio network, which is Heart Over Ego Radio. And each week we host several different shows. Now we have one almost every day of the week right now. So I have the Alchemy Sisters with Jenny McDaniel, and we hold space on Mondays here on Heart Over Ego Radio. And then I'm also a coach. I work one-on-one with women often in empowerment sessions. I do readings. We kind of tune in with your angel team and your higher self to make sense of what's going on now and why, and offer different perspectives. And I just like to be kind of a space holder and a teacher. And all of my clients kind of come to me in divine timing, and they have something to learn or something that they need to or want to, I would say, improve upon or change or shift within their perspectives. And I just try to hold space and share messages from the angels as well as my own inner teachings and knowings. And that's about it. I just like to hold space with spiritual people and see what kind of light I can share.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have her here. I've been on a couple of the shows with her, and I'm just so excited. I was telling her everything about her is just such calming energy. And I'm this higher vibrative person. I'm constantly living in this state of like pure chaos and like anxiety. And I feel like that's part of the empath and channeling for me, because whenever spirit's around me, I get anxious. It's just what it is. And so it's like I absolutely love to have people who are the calm to my storm, and I feel like that is you.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's something that it was a learned skill, and I had to learn how to practice peace and practice my controlling my actions and my reactions. And being an empath, on this show, I'm sure there's a whole lot of listeners who are empaths. Your feelings are your superpower, but you have to learn how to start to manage them in order to really manage spirit and your higher self and really tune in to truly listen to your own intuition. So it's kind of like an initiation when you start to become more spiritual and become more aware of all of your feelings and whatnot, and then choose how you react and where you give your precious energy and feelings to, because they're the compass to what your soul's path is leading you towards.
Oh, I love that you said that, because I just feel like there's so much changing for everybody. And sometimes that's one of the reasons why I love having this show. First off, thank you guys so very much for letting me be a part of Heart Over Ego, because it's everything I stand for. But at the same time, there's so many people out there who just need guidance but don't know what guidance they're looking for. And so with so many different women and so many different people, because there's also Drew, doing these radio shows, it's so amazing, because I feel like they are going to be pulled in the direction in which they need. So if you listen to me tonight and hear her and you feel like you need her, then go for her. Like, there's no hate in the spiritual stuff. There shouldn't be. Just go towards what your heart is guiding you to for the healing that you need in your life, and that will always be the right place to go.
Oh, I agree. We say that on the Alchemy Sisters all the time. We're like, this person, it's kind of like art, and food and different things. Like, this person might have the flavor you need to tune up this part of yourself or this part of your life. And this person might have some information that helps initiate an activation so that you can become a little wiser. Like, there's always gifts. And if you're a healer and you're tuning in, you always have an opportunity to learn from your students as well. It's very much a give and receive relationship. And the more we can create community and the more we can learn from one another and each other, the happier and the quicker this planet will continue to be and to heal.
That's wonderful. So I'm actually going to take a moment, and I am going to say I acknowledge the person sitting right now in our little queue to be talked to, but we're still in the middle of this, so if you can hold on just a little bit longer, I would be very appreciative of that. We will get to you, I promise. For you guys who do not know me, my name is Crystal Jordan. I am located out of Charlotte, Michigan. I actually started my spiritual journey to channel First Spirit in 2012. I have some pretty fun stories regarding that, but if you want, you can go and read my full story at my website, which is www.midmittenmedium.com, and you can read my story there with how I chose to do everything. But in 2012, I started living my life for who I was, and that was actually channeling for spirit. That was my job. That is my job. And so many people ask me, do you do this on the side? Because so many people are not, so many spiritual people are not blessed enough to be able to do this for a living. And I am grateful that I am. I do have the clientele that backs that for me. And I also have the most amazing spouse to be able to do this. With that being said, I also channel for guides. Like, guides are super cool, and not a lot of mediums like do it the way that I do. And the only thing that separates me from everybody else is I'm so honest. So, like, if spirit says something to me, I'm going to tell you 100% what they're saying. There's no mincing of words, but I try to kind of do everything that I do with as much love and empathy as possible as well. But there's going to be times where spirit's going to be like, yo, get your crap together, and that's it. Just plain and simple, get your shit together. Your chaos is created because you're chaotic, and, you know, you need help with that, but sometimes you got to help yourself. And so that's kind of one of the mottos that I live by in life. God helps those who help themselves. You know, you can pray and pray and pray, but if you don't make changes in your life to, support the growth that you want to see, then it's never going to happen. And praying just is what it is. They're just words until your actions start to contribute to the words in which you are changing. So that's kind of what I live by, because I've had to change my whole life to do this. I at one time was the most negative person you would ever meet on the street, and there's nothing that I hide. Y'all will hear everything from me. I'm pretty honest and truthful about my life. And there's a reason for that. We can't grow unless other people are here to guide. So with that being said, today's show is just going to kind of be answering some of the questions that I asked you to let me know what you wanted to hear. I asked you guys earlier in the week, or I think it was last week, what you guys wanted to know from guides. If there was one thing that your guides could help you out with, what would it be? And some of those things that you guys placed were the art of letting go, to know how to recognize when your guides are actually trying to communicate with you, all the ways spirit communicates, loving yourself, and what and how you find out what your purpose is. And I think those are all wonderful things to talk about today. So I know Mandy can help with a lot of those things because she is such a spiritual gangster when it comes to this stuff.
I did the work.
So I feel like it's wonderful. And Mandy, if you're cool, I'm going to kind of answer the first caller. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And please bear with me, guys. If I hang up on you, I'm sorry. This is my first time using this equipment, so just be loving to me.
You got it.
Hello.
Yes. Hi. I called, but I didn't know if you were doing readings.
Well, we can if you would like to have us do a reading. What is it that you would like, my dear?
I have a job now. I'm going for an interview on Tuesday for a job for September. You see me getting that, and when do you see a significant other coming in, a nice man, for a relationship?
So, Mandy, I'm actually going to let you take this, and I'm just going to kind of put it out there. Guys, I am not a psychic. I don't see stuff like this. So, all these calls will kind of go towards Mandy's direction because that's not how I see, unless my guides want to forcefully interrupt and say, hey, this is what we see for this person. But I'll let you take over, my dear.
That sounds good. Yeah, I've met you and your guides sometimes, and they do that. They jump right in. Caller, what is your first name?
Sue.
Sue. Awesome. Excellent. Well, what I'm hearing right now is that actually, do you have more than one application out for the interview you're going to? Is there another interview lined up yet?
Not that I know of.
Okay, because they're showing that this one is you're gonna do well, and they're most likely gonna offer you a position. But then they're also showing a job offer coming in shortly after, and then you're gonna be a little torn as to which one to choose. So they're saying go, enjoy the interview, kind of be in your power, be the empress, and see if it's something that lines up for you or not. And then, did you also put out like a bunch of other applications recently?
I did, but they weren't really for what I wanted. So I put in one for subbing at a school that could lead to permanent. This Tuesday I'm going to an interview. And then another one I put in, a month ago I was subbing, and then I just told them today, I emailed, I said if anything comes up for September, now do you see that one? Or because I'm looking to be a teacher aide in a school.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because you're going to get several offers, and actually they're just starting to kind of get, their thoughts organized probably for the school year in a few weeks here. And so they're just saying that you're going to be tempted to take the first offer and sit with it and say, thank you so much. Let me think about it. Something else might come in, and then you get to decide. Either way, you're absolutely going to be employed, and you're going to choose the one that feels the best for you as far as the type of environment you want to be in.
Do you think
as far as love goes,
do you think I should put more applications out, or is it going to be one of these two that I put out already? Because I'm working now too. I'm kind of spreading myself too thin with doing things and working and job hunting.
Yeah, no, they're saying that you already planted the seeds. They're already out there. Just don't be surprised if you hear back from something that you kind of forgot about because it got put on the back burner a little bit, but then they're going to be looking at you is what they're showing. So, yes, they want you to... Is it going to be
from the school that I subbed at the past year?
One of them. They're saying one of them is, and one of them's from another school. Or like, I don't know if it's a school or like district maybe or something. They're showing more of like an area or a region, but they're saying definitely one from the school, and then they're just saying they're showing another one. It's something. Have you substitute or like met? They're showing networking. So have you like met people or applied at other places yet, or worked within other schools besides this one that you're wanting to go to?
Well, I subbed at two places, and I applied to both of them where I subbed.
Gotcha.
One is about 15 minutes away, and one's about 6 minutes away.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think you're going to end up getting an offer from each, and then you get to choose, which will be really nice.
Okay.
That's a good thing. And then
because the job I'm at now, is like a bus monitor, and I go back and forth 4 times a day traveling because I'm only working the morning, afternoon. That's like,
Right. That's a little too much. And ask your angels to protect your energy and say, hey, guys, like I'm working really hard right here. I'm willing to show up and work. And can you help me to find, the job that works best for me and my schedule? And it's important as you're spreading yourself thin here to make sure that's even though we feel like we don't have time when we get really, really busy and spread thin, that's when it's most important to make sure you're taking at least a half hour a week to go and spend some time with yourself, Sue, whether that's taking a walk outside or, doing a little meditation or whatever it is that you can take your energy back into yourself because you're very much giving all the time to everyone and to everything, and it has to come back into you.
Now, real quickly, when do you see a significant other coming in?
Well, they're actually showing right now that you're still kind of, they're showing you being alone for a little bit longer, maybe a few more months, and that you're still kind of finding your balance. You're supposed to be a little hermit-like right now and be getting really clear on the qualities you want to call in a new partner. Are you still healing up your heart a little bit from the last one?
No, not at all. I'm just meeting men. Like I'm supposed to meet one tonight, and they're busy, and he says he's going to keep me posted. It's like, okay, I'll wait and be posted.
Yeah, and you get to decide, too, how much you want to do with that. But it's interesting because they're showing you having a couple different suitors come in over the next 2 or 3 months, and you're going to actually be the one. You're going to kind of be the heartbreaker and be like, no, you're a really nice guy, but not really for me. And then in about they're saying about 3 to 4 months, someone who's really much more on your page is going to come in, and then you pulled the Two of Cup card, and they're showing a good opportunity for potential romance then. But they are showing like you kind of got to kiss a few frogs before you get to the prince. They're showing like a few people coming in that, you're going to enjoy spending time with, but then not so much romantically, and you're going to want to be the one who has to say no. Say, you're really nice. I'm sorry. I'm not interested in this. And they're showing you saying no probably twice, and then on the third person you're dating, you'll really hit it off with.
Well, how am I going to meet that third person? I don't want to do online anymore.
They're kind of giggling, and they're saying that it's going to be like perhaps through a mutual friend or at some sort of community event. And it's like someone you just organically start talking to, and you guys just kind of hit it off almost like your old friends, and then you exchange information, and it kind of happens really organically, almost like a friendship, and you're really going to enjoy it. And they're saying you don't have to go online or look for it or anything, because your timelines are going to match up and merge the way that they're supposed to at that time, so you don't have to force any connection.
Okay, so maybe I won't look anymore either, and the next two will just pop up.
Yeah. They're saying, you get to choose where your energy goes to, and like they're showing that the dating online can be a little bit overwhelming, and that, not everybody on there is meant to be who you're supposed to be crossing paths with right now, and the ones you're supposed to be crossing paths with, it's a little bit more organic, and just kind of you run into each other. It's not something you have to be the one who pursues.
Oh, well, that sounds great. And I hope the one that's closer to me, I hope I get that one, because that's the job I want most.
Awesome.
Ask your angels and call that in and set an intention and say, I want and deserve.
Are they going to call me like next week, you think?
You got to give it a little bit more time than that.
Yeah, actually,
I mean, they said the one I applied for. They put the deadline. They have to get the resume in by the 18th, so I didn't know when they're going to be interviewing.
Yeah, they're showing like about 2 to 3 weeks out from that deadline. So, and Crystal, you're picking up some stuff.
It is. It's so funny because it's like you're talking. I say I'm not a psychic, but like I said, my guys are like, okay, because as soon as she talked about the love of her life, they said organically. They screamed it because you don't have to go looking for people. It's like, come on, just be okay in your space, and don't try to find anybody right now, because you have so much other stuff happening around you. Like, there's so much energy happening around you. It's time to take a minute, slow down, and focus, and start to see what it is that you actually want, because it's just like the people that you're meeting are just not the right energy for you. They're just not.
I'm busy, but I'm not super busy. I'm just working and, making appointments if I have to do doctors or dentists and stuff like that, and just seeing friends, you know what I mean?
But that's not the energy they're talking about. That's not the busyness that they're talking about. The busyness they're talking about is the busyness in you and what you want going forward, this job and all that other stuff. You have wants, you have needs, you have desires, you have bucket lists. We have all these things for our lives, and that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about specific, things you're doing outside of your life. You have things happening internally right now that need to kind of slow down and be focused, because that's what they're trying to get you to do. So
you're right. I think I'm just going to trying to find somebody, let go. They'll find me, and the jobs, I'm not going to put any more applications out, because that's like driving me nuts. So I'm just going to see about these two jobs.
Awesome. Yeah, and you planted those seeds, Sue. You planted those seeds. You're going to get some calls. It's even going to surprise you, like, oh, I forgot I even sent that one. Okay. You did all that work, and now you're going to get calls about it. And just like what Crystal said, the more self-love and time you can take for yourself right now, whether it's, reading a book or taking a walk on the beach or, exploring meditation, the more you pour love into yourself, the quicker it's going to be that your organic love kind of pops up and you're able to cross paths, because they're showing you raising your vibration just a little bit. And your partner's working on that too. And then when you're both in the same vibration is when the opportunity to cross the timelines will happen. So you just pour yourself into you, and then he's going to come.
The one job I did put an application. I do remember doing that, because it's where I subbed. Both of them I subbed for last year.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much, Sue. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
calling in. You have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful night, my dear.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye. Awesome. You were so good at that. Like, see, I tell myself I'm not a psychic, and truthfully, I'm like, whatever. I feel like we're all psychic, but at the same time, I'm so uncomfortable answering certain questions. Love is one of them. I do not like questions about love. It's just one of those things. I've been divorced twice, so what the hell are you asking me for?
Oh, man, everyone's a little bit psychic, no doubt about it. And it's so funny because the more I did readings and the more I would do shows with Jenny and things like that and send it over to her, I'd realize she'd start doing the reading. And I'm like, oh, my God, that's everything I was getting right now. And it gave me, like, validation and confirmation, kind of what you were just you were just experiencing. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of takes over. And if you're like me, one of my, most primary gifts is claircognizance, which is the sense of knowing. And it's almost like I'm getting, like, telepathic information, and
Yes.
it comes in so quick and so fast, and I just have to trust it, and it's always right. If I second guess it or go with my second option or whatever else came through, then it's wrong. It's so funny.
That's 100% how I get stuff. So we're going to dive into the questions because this is the awesomeness of who we are and how we can help you wonderful people. So we're going to talk first and foremost about the art of letting go. And I am going to acknowledge that there are different forms of letting go, actually. Letting go is not the same for everything in every situation. If you're talking about the loss of a loved one, I'm going to tell you first off, there is no letting go. Like, that is one of the things that Spirit teaches us the most. You never have to let go. There is no goodbye. There's just, I'll see you later. And that's one of the reasons why I love to channel for Spirit, because when they come through, they validate for you so much in the form that, like, they're here. And, last week when you went and ate bacon or whatever at a restaurant, I was sitting right with you. And it's those things. So there is no letting go when it comes to spirit, love, or loss. Okay. And so when it comes to the art of letting go of the past, there are different things, and healing kind of all comes in a little bit differently for each and every one of us. And so I'm going to tell you how I deal with things. It's a little bit more hands-on. I do everything hands-on because that's how I learn. That's how I do things. And so I'm going to ask you, Mandy, do you have, like, anything that has helped you in letting go that you could talk to other people about?
Yeah, a lot of things. So I feel like letting go comes in, like you said, in so many different things. If it comes to, releasing someone who's actually physically passed on, that soul connection will always be there. But letting go of things like being attached to certain things, whether it's a relationship or a job or a certain circumstance, I think that the way you can be a little bit more tactful and graceful and full of love about it is to simply meet and forgive yourself. First, take an inventory of what your emotions are. So right now I'm transitioning into taking space from my romantic relationship. And I could hold on to that really tight and choke it out and be like, no, this is going to be terrible. I don't know what's going to happen, and be really sad about it. Or I can embrace all of the opportunities that are going to come with it. Well, it's like I call it, my boyfriend and I can go to our healing holes and I'm like, I can go and work on some meditation, and I can spend time with the dogs, and I can support my family, and I can do different things that I'm really looking forward to. And I choose to focus on that, and I focus on the fact that this will be the best for my highest good. We're in this relationship. We're not really bringing out the best in each other right now. We're not really respecting one another and able to speak our truths very often. And so it's important for us to take space to do that. So I could get really upset and be sad, like, oh my gosh, this might never work out. Who knows? Or I can choose to trust that my higher self and my intuition are leading me the right way. Like, for instance, I came to this decision because I felt a lot of energy in my higher heart, my throat chakra a little bit, and in my sacral chakra. And I wasn't sure, I was like, man, what is this about? And I realized it was because I wasn't very happy in my relationship, and I needed to voice that, and I needed to speak my truth about that. So it went on for about 3 or 4 days. And finally it got to the point where I was like, I just got to say something. And I brought up the idea of taking some space, and it was a little hard at first, but now it's ended up being really nice, and we're both on the same page, and we're being nice to each other, and we're excited about it, and we're hoping that both of us can grow.
See, that's awesome. So, like, we talked a little bit before we actually started the radio show, and both of us, Mandy and myself, we've experienced a lot of stuff in our lives that has kind of forced us. I mean, Spirit really has forced us to move through things in our lives. And when you're forced, you really have no choice. The only choices that are before you is to move forward and make whatever choice that lays in your lap at the moment. Okay, so it's not really like I've had any choices along the way in some of the stuff that's happened to me or happened around me. I just have to get through it and keep going. And one of the things that helped me the most in letting go of certain situations and being mad or being sad or PTSD, because I have a level of PTSD that I'm actually still experiencing in my life regarding my ex-husband, both ex-husbands actually. Like I said, I've been married and divorced twice. I have PTSD that is surrounding them and the energy of those relationships that I'm dealing with. And so some of the things that my guides have set forth for me in letting go, moving forward, first and foremost is learning to live in the now. Like, take a deep breath and live in this moment. This moment right now, you listening to this radio show right now, me sitting here with headphones in my ears and listening to Mandy read for somebody or talk about her, that's all that matters. This moment and this moment alone is all that matters. If you live too much in the past, then you're going to be living in depression. If you're living too much in the future, you're going to be living in stress because things aren't set forth for you. Depression comes when you look back on your life and you see certain situations that you wish you could change or didn't change or should have done things differently. That comes with depression. That's looking back in your life, and that's not something that you should do either. Just sit in the moment. What do you want right now in the moment? What's important to you right now? Boundaries are a second thing in the form of letting go. Boundaries come when people have come in and hurt you or you've hurt others. Boundaries are so important to every single thing that we do, we say, and how we live our lives. Because if we have no boundaries, then somehow we change and turn into carpet. Okay? And this is something that Spirit talks about all the time in readings. Don't be carpet. Because you can't be walked on in life. And generally speaking, empathic people, truly empathic people, and I'm going to say there are different forms or different levels of being an empath. I tell everybody I'm an empath on steroids. I absorb everything around me. And so protection is one of those things. But boundaries are so important to me. And so many people, we live in this life that people teach us that we shouldn't have boundaries. If you have an appointment, give up your appointment so you can be here for this person because they need you. Well, that's not okay because I made this appointment 2 weeks ago. And so, no, I won't give you my time. I won't give you my space. And it's not because I don't love you. It's because I love myself. And so learning how to love yourself above others truly is one of the things that we're here to do. And it doesn't mean being an asshole. It doesn't mean like taking control of everything and not giving unconditional love. It just means that you deserve unconditional love yourself as well. Cutting cords. Cut those cords. Google it. Google it right now. Every single one of us has these energy tubes that are created. If we've come into contact with somebody in our lives, we have these energy tubes that are created. And that energy is given and taken. And if it was a toxic relationship or the relationship no longer holds space for you anymore and it's not something that you want, then why are you giving energy to it? Stop! Because that's part of boundaries. Like, your energy is so important to you. So Google cutting cords. Another one, and I'm sorry I'm talking so fast, but like Spirit just talks
You go,
to me.
girl. You go, girl. I have lots to say after. You just go. We'll roll.
Okay. So Spirit also gives constantly. You cannot have fear and faith in the same relationship. Okay. There is religious faith, which is and excuse all of you people who are religious. I'm not knocking you at all. But I know I grew up in a church. I'm baptized in a church. I was confirmed in a church. Trust me, I get religion and I get what it means. We go to church and we read a Bible and we sit within that space every single Sunday and we have faith. Okay, but do you really have faith? Because if you're questioning anything at all that's happening in life around you, you don't have faith. Because if you had actual faith, you would know that the universe and God and angels are on your side and everything is always working out the exact way it needs to in that moment all the time. And so if you ever question that, then you have fear over faith and you need to find a way to change that within yourself. coming to terms with the emotions regarding the situation as it is. And so that's a big one. Like with me, like I said, with my past 2 relationships, I'm dealing with a certain form of PTSD because there was a lot of emotional and physical abuse that took place. And with that comes a lot of I don't love myself. I was taught in life not to love myself. I was taught to take care of everybody around me first. And that kind of switched. And so I stopped believing in myself. I stopped listening to myself. I stopped following myself and my gut. And so I had to be honest with myself about what I did. You know, it's not that I don't love other people and I don't actually love my spouses, because truthfully, there's still love that I have for these 2. But at the same time, if they wouldn't have done to me what they did, I wouldn't have come to a space of understanding who I am and where I'm at today. And so I've got to be grateful, because I wouldn't be talking to all of you right now if it wasn't for those situations that took place. And so we have to be completely honest with ourselves. Are you pissed off? If you're pissed off, be pissed off. Take that moment. Hold that space. Be angry. Break a plate. I don't care what you do. Be angry. Feel the feelings as they come, but also don't sit there forever. And part of what we do is we sit there forever. And when I find myself going into rants in my head and revisiting situations that I can't control from the past, I repeat over and over and over and over and over again until it clicks, not allowed. That's not allowed. It is not allowed. I will not allow my mind, my energy, my space to be in a negative place of holding because these people can't be good. That's not my problem. That's not where I deserve to be. I am a great person. I've made mistakes. I've hurt people, and I've come to terms with that. I'm okay with that. I've apologized, and that's all I can do. I'm only who I am today. I'm not who I was 20 years ago. And so letting go also means being okay with the fact that you are not going to allow negative energy to sit in your space any longer. And you have to retrain your brain to not take you there. And that is working and working and working and working more at it every single day. And you can't let it slide, because the moment you start letting your brain take over the conversation is the minute that you start to go back and slide into old habits where you don't love yourself again, or you're mad about a situation again, or you allow the drama back in. And you can't do that because you're better than that now. And so that's also super important. Talk about it. Talk about it. To whoever's going to listen, talk about it, because so many times for years and years, we have learned to suppress what's happening in our lives and keep it a secret. And that is why we see what we see today with healing, understanding, and not being able to be ourselves, because nobody allows us to speak about what's happened to us. So talk about it. Find somebody. Write it down in a journal. I don't care what you do, but get it out of your system and allow yourself to speak about it somehow. Go ahead, Mandy.
So many beautiful reflections. The most recent one is, the species that survives the longest is the one who has the ability to adapt to change. And if you're a species on this planet and you're not very adaptable to new climates, different situations, things that are changing, then often your species isn't able to survive. And so if you want to, turn from being a survivor to just a thriver, and that's part of trauma, it doesn't have to be something that labels you for your entire life. So many of us have PTSD and complex PTSD and other things that have happened. And often we see with empaths and with so many beings on this planet that it almost becomes part of your identity. Oh, that happened to me. So we can all kind of join together in that and support one another, hopefully. But oftentimes it doesn't lead to thriving and healing. It leads to staying in the same triggers. I always feel like any sort of trigger that comes up is always an opportunity to heal, whether it's physical, spiritual, emotional. It's just something within your body and your mind and your spirit saying, hey, this is imbalanced, and I would like you to take a look at it. I had the pleasure of working with several women who were in the military and were abused in the military sexually, physically, in a lot of different ways, and have complex PTSD from that. In a place where they were supposed to be safe and protected and be the protectors, they were being attacked. And I got to do some exercises with them about releasing fear. And many of them were afraid of the dark because they didn't know who was going to sneak up or what would happen. And so I'd say, why don't you practice each night by walking out to your car and getting in your car. And instead of feeling like, someone's coming or going to attack you, or you're worried about what's going to happen because of what happened in the past, see if you can embrace the moment, practice a pause, take a step outside. All right, take a deep breath, take a look around and survey the scene. Is there actually impending danger right now? Yes, you feel your anxiety rising, but what's contributing to that? Is it a past fear or is it a present reality? If you determine that it's a past fear and it's not a present reality, then you can take a couple seconds and look around and say, okay, wait a minute, things are peaceful, and then I always encourage my clients to, and I really like to use support from the angels to protect me. So I'll say, angels, archangels, spirit guides, can you surround me in white and blue light and protect me while I walk to my car and while I drive home? And so, as they would walk to their car, I'd say, then, stop for a minute and survey the scene again and look up and say, what are some things that you would have missed that are beautiful about this scene that, your trauma or your anxiety was overshadowing? And they'd be like, well, I saw like a cool, an owl swoop through, and I heard this really neat thing like far away. It was some kind of animal, and I don't know what it was, but it sounded really pretty. And I was able to see a shooting star, or I was able to see, a mom and her daughter just walking, holding hands down the street, and they were really happy. Moment, and you shift your present awareness. And when you do that, you slowly relax and you take your power back little by little. And so I think to overcome PTSD, to start letting go of things, it is really important to do what Crystal said and to stay as present as possible. And when you were talking about boundaries, I think if boundaries are something that any of our listeners are struggling with, then I encourage you to just simply start with what feels best to you with yes and no. And don't say yes when you really mean no. We're so good at just pitching in an extra hand and extending ourselves too thin when really we need to protect ourselves. Or like Crystal said, if it's that appointment that you've been waiting 2 weeks for and they ask you to change it and you really don't want to, or whatever it is, try to advocate for yourself. Of course, be a nice human. And if you can bend, and it feels good and in alignment, sure, go for it. But, if you want to advocate for yourself, that's good too. So yeah, lots of good things there, sister. I love it.
So we have 2 more callers actually. So I'm going to take one of the callers and see what they have to say.
Perfect.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, my dear. What is your name?
My name is Jeanette.
Hi, Jeanette. And what is it that you're calling for today?
Well, I guess I was kind of listening to what she was saying about the not being able to use, or I read it, I guess, on the website or something, like you cannot use your gift because you're so embedded in the fear and the anxiety and the past and the future, and and you see that you have something is calling, but sort of you can't get there, and or like it seems like a journey so difficult. So I don't know if there's any message about that, because that's what I feel that I am. And anxiety keeps calling and pulling, and fear also, and so in the midst of that, I know there's something else calling me.
So do you want to know what it is that is calling you? Is that what you would like to know?
Yeah, kind of like how can I respond to the true call?
You have like your guides literally. So like when I see guides, they're so cute. I absolutely love our guides. So they're sitting over here rubbing their hands together like, yes. They're so excited. First and foremost, you have, like me, I tell everybody, like my guides, I swear, they're drinkers at this point because they've had to deal with me for so long. But at the same time, I only have like a few that step forward for me. You have so many. Like you have a plethora of guides that are balancing your energies. And the reason this is because you're a natural born healer. And what they're giving to me first and foremost is they're giving me energy going through your hands. Now, most people would think that that's Reiki, and I'm going to tell you I don't necessarily see Reiki or whatever, because I just believe that we're healers or we're not healers, okay? Right. Now, I'm also going to ask you, do you see things like with your third eye? Because when I tell people about the third eye and how you see it, I try to explain it like an old school viewfinders. And it's like people are like, what is that? They don't know. It's kind of like it's presented more as our imagination. And I guess that's what I try to tell people, because so many people don't follow what it is that they're seeing. But at the same time, you also have this level of anxiety that surrounds you, okay?
Right.
And when I see the anxiety shifting through and coming through into your solar plexus, first off, callers, people who are listening, our solar plexus is exactly where spirit comes through for us. That is the house in which spirit lives. And so when we feel them, see them, and experience them, what happens is that's where we're going to feel them and see them first, okay? So please just know and understand that that's actually where it's going to come through. So what you're feeling is right, what you're experiencing right, and what you're picking up on is correct. Now, I'm going to also ask you, are you having a little bit of an issue or a little bit of a problem going forward with some of this stuff because of family and friends and people around you maybe not supporting you as much?
I don't really have a lot of people in my life.
Okay.
And
so what they're giving me
I
is
don't
lack of support. Okay. So
right,
what they're giving me is kind of lack of support and not knowing exactly where to take that jump, okay? So first off, what I would tell you is if you really feel as though you need somebody to support you through this transition, find somebody in your area that's either a trusted reader, and I don't even necessarily want to say channeler like I am. I'm almost going to say an energy healer to help you on your path, okay? Because you most definitely are being called to help other people with your energy. You are 100% being asked to do this. You also have lived an up and down life because they're giving me my roller coaster, which means to me that you yourself have made it through a whole lot of things also in your life. And that has been the struggle for you. You have had to really turn yourself around 2 different times and start all over again in life, okay? So please know that they commend you so much for doing that, but also still being an advocate for all of the people around you. You truly are a gifted, wonderful woman, and I do hope that you start to use this stuff. But when it comes out of fear, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and you have to say, this is literally what I did. I woke up one morning after I had the healing done by Pat Longo, and I looked in the mirror and I said, Crystal, I'm done. I'm done feeling this way. I'm done letting people dictate my life, and I am done sitting in this space. If I was placed here to help others, then by golly, I'm going to help others, and that means I have to help myself first. And then I started working on myself, and I mean deep work on myself. So that's what I would suggest. I don't think you have a whole lot of work to do to yourself because I think you've already done it. And they're also making me feel as though that you have not been a particularly horrible person. Like, I wasn't a horrible person. I'm going to tell you I was a demon in a lot of people's stories. But at the end of the day, it was just normal, everyday human stuff, okay? So, I mean, I'm not a horrible person. I'm not out murdering people or anything like that. But at the end of the day, we have to come to terms with what we've done or haven't done. And so you've already done that work. You've already done it. Yeah. And so now what's holding you back is what they're giving to me. They're literally trying to push you. And they're making me feel like the only thing holding you back at this point is the fear behind it, okay? So the fear behind the process. Am I going to have money to support me? Am I going to have the clients to support me? This is all stuff you manifest throughout the way. When I first started, I live in such a tiny town, okay? I live in Charlotte, Michigan. If you blink, you will miss it. And I'm going to tell you, this is not the best town to live in if you want to be a channeler, okay? I love my town, but they're not so backing when it comes to this. I had to build my clientele, and Spirit built it for me. I didn't have to do anything. Spirit built it for me. So every person that came to me had a story that had to be told afterwards. And so they went forth with that story, and they gave it to other people. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I have the clients that I do, because my clients tell the story of Spirit. And so please don't fear. They will always give you what you need when you need it. And so go forth and live your life the way you're supposed to. You truly are a magnificent woman, and they give you a huge round of applause in life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're welcome, sweetheart. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your message.
Okay. Yep, bye.
Bye.
Are you still there?
That was beautiful. That was beautiful, Crystal.
Oh, thank you. That's the stuff
You're
I love
welcome.
to do. That's what I love.
Totally. And when Jeanette called in, she talked about, some anxiety coming in. And I pulled a few angel cards. And the first one was to focus your mind. And I wanted to share with our listeners one of the best ways you can transmute anxiety and your feelings and what's happening at the time is to refocus. Say you have anxiety and you're not even sure where it's coming from. That's okay. That's considered overwhelm. And if you're in any state of overwhelm, which is a lower vibrational feeling, whether it be anxiety, grief, shame, guilt, sadness, jealousy, anything that makes you feel icky is considered overwhelm. So when you take a moment to breathe a little and then refocus your mind on something in a higher vibration, such as gratitude. Gratitude's like the second highest vibration, something like that. It's way up there. Excuse me. So you take a minute and you refocus on what you're grateful for and go over 10 things that you're grateful for in the moment. What it does is it refocuses your mind so that whatever your mind was focusing on that was causing the anxiety, it starts to drift away. And this is a little process. Let's say you're driving down the road and you're really angry because you're in crazy traffic and you're slamming on the brakes every 2 seconds and you're like, oh my gosh. So it might start with something like, oh my gosh, I'm really grateful that I have these brakes that work because this person's a jerk in front of me or whatever it is, and then, oh, I'm really grateful like I have a car and I can get to the appointment I'm going to. And I'm grateful I had, some lunch earlier. That was really good. And I've got this awesome dog at home and things are okay. And like, as you get down to the sixth thing you're grateful for, your energy starts to transmute and to shift and to change. It recalibrates the way that your meridians are flowing and everything within you. And it tunes everything back up within a matter of minutes. And we all just walk around and drive around and talk to ourselves all day anyway. So nobody will even have a clue if you're taking a couple deep breaths and then refocusing on gratitude. And then when you get to that and you restore your peace again, then all of a sudden you reopen your heart chakra. And when you can ascend back up out of the overwhelm or out of the lower vibrational feelings, then you reopen yourself to abundance. And the universe is like, oh, here's that green light you needed. Here's that job interview you needed. Here's, that call from a friend you were really hoping to get. Now that you said that you're calm and you're not overwhelmed anymore and your energy is telling us you're open to receiving, we can give you what you want. Because if you're in any state of overwhelm, it closes off your heart chakra and your portal of abundance. And the universe is like, oh no, my little being, I love you, but you're in overwhelm. And I'd love to give you that, but you can't handle it. Look at your energy. Your energy is saying, I can't handle it. Stop. No. So when we can transmute and shift that, that's like a lot of what you were talking about before, Crystal, with, it's important to feel your feelings. If you're sad, if you're angry, feel it, but don't stay there too long because then you just get in your own way. And it's really important to do something. And even if you're really angry, go for a walk. If you're really sad, play a song and dance or put on a comedy show or something to shift your vibration and to help pull yourself out of there. That's how you become empowered, and that's how you start really owning and honoring who you are and living in your most authentic path.
Yes. Awesome. I love that you do that. I love that you're just like, blah, 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 blah. You do it too.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't feel so bad about just spitting out information all the time. So I know we have another caller, but we do only have a few minutes left. We only have 12 minutes left. So I'm going to get to a couple more of these things because one that I think is really important is how to recognize and understand when, and I'm going to say when spirit is trying to communicate, because guide, spirit, whatever. We should all be be able to absorb, understand spirit information coming through, all of us. I'm not special. I feel like I've honed my energy a little bit different and I've learned how to use it differently, but I'm not special. And that's one of those things that it's like, okay, so there was a day where I couldn't understand what spirit was saying to me either. All I heard was a whole bunch of people talking in a crowded room. I could not differentiate between what it was that they were saying unless they were coming up close enough to scare the crap out of me. So how to recognize when spirit is coming through and are trying to communicate. And it goes hand in hand with all the ways that spirit communicates. So guides like to dumb things down through me because probably I tell people to explain it to me like I'm a toddler, so I understand. So guides give things to me, and Mandy can tell you the actual meaning behind this through thoughts, feelings, emotions, imagery, and taste, whatever. So those are the 5 ways that spirit chooses to connect with us. So if you're sitting in a space and you've asked your guides, your team, your loved ones on the other side, you're sitting in your car, let's say, And you've asked everybody frantically several times because you have a lot of changes taking place. And you realize that you have a path change and you're like, okay, guys, what the heck do I need to do? What step do I need to take? Because I don't know. And then it can be something as simple as seeing a billboard. A billboard. That's it. Read the billboard. What does the billboard say? What is the picture on the billboard? What is it that you're seeing, feeling, experiencing, tasting, smelling? What is it? And that's how we start to acknowledge. And like Mandy said before, stop questioning yourself. That's what gets you all in trouble. You sit there and you question, you human your life up too much. You question everything that's coming to you. So you've then turned yourself into being, instead of being an open, receiving human being, you then turn yourself into a skeptical, analytical human being. And so what you do is you question. If that was you, if that really was a sign, can you show me again? Can you give it to me again? Because it wasn't clear enough. And Spirit at that time is like checked out. They're like, okay, if you aren't going to listen to me the first time, then why would I give it to you the second time? Because you're not trusting your gut. And so what I like
we worked really hard for that.
Yes. And so what I like to tell people, just like I told the caller that just talked to me, everything spirit-wise comes through the solar plexus. If you do not know your chakras, please Google the chakras, what they're for, what is everything about a chakra, because it is true. Those are things. Spirit comes through the sacral chakra, okay, moves up through the heart chakra, which is where the anxious energy, the nervousness comes in, and then it goes up to the throat chakra. So that is where you are supposed to speak, acknowledge, understand, confirm, validate that you know what they're saying. And so many of us stop it. And so we're not open between the heart, the throat, and the solar plexus. And that's what keeps us from understanding the information as it comes through. And so to feel your loved ones or to feel your guides, you literally just have to learn to feel. How many of us shut down our feelings because we don't like to feel angry? We don't like to feel jealous. We don't like to feel anxious or nervous or whatever. But I'm going to tell you 150,000%, all of those negative energies stem from love. You can't have a jealous emotion in your body without loving somebody first. You can't hate a situation unless you love it first. Everything that we feel, it stems from love, and spirit channels with love. And so if you're shutting down even the ugly emotions or even those sadness emotions or whatever, we're not allowing spirit to speak to us. And so the first step to allowing spirit in is to feel the emotions, which might mean you might cry at a stop sign when you hear the song that you know your great uncle that just passed away is playing for you. But it's allowing it. And that's the first step to understanding and communicating with spirit.
Beautiful. Totally agree.
So I guess that's all. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, and I think just like, not second guessing it, if you're looking for a sign and then there it is, or if just something, these synchronicities and these coincidences just happen and they happen for you. And it might be something little like, you're looking at the clock and it's like 11:11 or 4:44 and it's just a confirmation of like, hey, you're on the right path, like keep doing a good job. Or you might be thinking about something and you get one or two signs, maybe choosing instead of to be skeptical of it, saying, hey, why don't I trust this and roll with it and just feel what that energy would feel like. I think the more you can shift your energy, the more you can be open to receiving the signs and the gifts that are out there for you.
Awesome. So I feel like we only have like a couple minutes left. We have 6 minutes left. So I'm going to actually, because this one caller has been holding for almost 10 minutes, and I feel like that in itself needs a pat on the back. So I'm going to take this very last caller, and then we're going to kind of say goodbye, okay? So
sounds good.
Let me answer this. Hello.
Oh, that's me again. Oh, that's me again, Jeanette.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Jeanette, for listening. You have been on hold for a long time. Okay. Well, I'll mute you again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's me not knowing how to use this darn equipment. So,
girl,
okay.
It's your first day at it, and it's Mercury retrograde. Give yourself a break.
So Quick. Mandy, what would you say to anybody that is struggling with loving their self?
I would say that if you're struggling to love yourself, then you know what you need to work on most right now. And my favorite tool and resource for that is the book You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. When I was really struggling with loving myself, and I gained a lot of weight, and I've struggled with losing weight. And it wasn't until I actually started to love and accept myself that the weight started to drop. And so I would challenge myself every time I was in the bathroom or looking in a mirror. I would make myself look at myself in the eyes and be like, you know what, I love you. And if I was sending myself judgment, like if my ankle was sore and I was like, oh man, stupid ankle, I'd be like, oh, wait a minute. Every time I'd give myself a put down, I'd give myself 3 put-ups and be like, I'm sorry, ankle, you're like bearing more than you need to, and you're doing so great, and I'm so proud of you. And shit, you've been through hell and back, and like, geez, Jenny pulled karma out of you, and like all kinds of stuff. And like, I'll start talking to the parts of myself that I'm hating on, or if I'm like, oh, you're so dumb, I'd be like, oh, nope, stop. Take a breath, and we'll talk shit. Sometimes you catch yourself talking shit to yourself for a half hour and you're like, oh no. So in that moment, I say, take a breath and tell yourself, hey, I forgive you. And I'll tell myself, I forgive you, Mandy. You've been in that bad pattern your whole life. And, you were taught to do that to yourself. And now you're making some change, and that takes a little time. So, I forgive you. And, and you're strong, and you're beautiful, and you're smart, and you're caring. And I'll give myself put-ups. Because like I was saying earlier, we all just talk to ourselves all day. So there's no excuse to not start doing the work. It's once you become aware that, oh, I am having these negative thoughts, or, oh, I am having this anxiety. Once that awareness is there, that's like the gateway to freedom and to start healing and to start practicing these things. So, yeah, that's my best step to start loving yourself, and just to choose things. Like when it comes to like things you're watching or listening to, like, oh, I'm watching this really violent thing and it's making me feel like shit. Like, oh, how's this affecting my vibration? Maybe I don't want to feel this way, so maybe I should switch up what my surrounding is, like, oh, I'm going to, for breakfast, like, should I have this, like, iced coffee with a bunch of sugar in it and stuff, or should I like have this smoothie with all these nutrients, and like take a minute and take a breath and say, what does my body actually want and need? And and is what I'm putting in my body or my environment, in my thoughts, in my physical body, and the sound around me, is that loving and healing towards me? And would I want to do that for a child around me? Would I want to do that for my inner child? Why do I release these boundaries and not? And you just start talking to yourself. Start talking to yourself a lot, and every time you find yourself feeling guilt, shame, resentment, or criticism, try your best to forgive yourself, and then give yourself some put-ups and make yourself feel better.
I love the put-ups. I'm literally going to put in my space, did you give yourself a put-up today? I've never heard it that way.
Oh my gosh, it's like going back to kindergarten. Like for every put down, 3 put-ups. Like, oh, you called little Jimmy a meanhead? Well, now you got to tell him 3 nice things. So it's kind of like that.
I'm seriously going to hang that on my wall. I absolutely love
works
that.
so well. It works so well. And come up with a daily mantra. Like if you're like really struggling with anger or frustration, like start saying, you know what, every time I feel that feeling, I'm going to tell myself like I am peace or I am love. And you just start getting in these little habits. And man, that's where the magic is.
Awesome. I absolutely love that. I was telling Mandy before she started, I keep my mantra right now is I am light, because, I've gotten into this space where I keep thanking the universe for filling me with light. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You are the light. Like, I was placed here on earth to be the light. You're all the light. Every single one of you who are listening right now, you are the light. You don't need light. You are the light. And sometimes things come along that like dim our light or take from our light, but that doesn't mean you're extinguished. Like you can't extinguish a light. So I'm going to actually, because we got like 90 seconds left. Mandy, my dear, where can people find you?
Yes, I forgot to say that in the beginning. You can find me on Facebook on Mandy Elam, Mandee, last name Elam. I also have a website, alchemyascensionacademy.com. You can also email us at heartoverego.com, and you can find us here on every Tuesday night on Radical Spirituality, and you can find me on our other show, The Alchemy Sisters, on Monday nights, and Womb Magic on Fridays. So here on Heart Over Ego Radio, and thank you, Crystal, so much for sharing Soul Space with me and inviting me onto this beautiful show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for doing this with me. If you guys want to find me, you can find me at midmittenmedium.com or Mid Mitten Medium on Facebook. I would enjoy a like since I've started my new page on Facebook. I only have like 360 people, so if you want to get on there and like me, follow me, that would be so awesome. I hope to hear from you or hope to talk to you guys next week. Thank you, Mandy, so very much, and what an awesome first show. I'm so blessed. Thank you.
All the love and light. Good night.
Night, hon. Bye.